Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the biggest emotional roller coaster of my entire life playing Call of Duty. This is the Black Ops 7 beta. We're gonna go into a lot of detail as to why I do like this game, but why I went from hating it to loving it, all with a very simple change that Treyarch did in I think it was the third day of the beta. But we're also gonna do general first impressions and everything about multiplayer. We're gonna do zombies in a different video. Okay? Now, let's dive into multiplayer. By the way, that main menu screen, pretty terrible, all things considered. Is just that gif of David Mason looping constantly. So, yeah, not great. That one probably needs some improvement. But when you go into the main menu, you are greeted by a very familiar sight, because this looks exactly the same as Black Ops 6. This game isn't really hiding the fact that it is based off the Black Ops 6 framework. So the menus, the gunsmith, the loadout system are all pretty similar. I'm gonna say the David Mason model doesn't look too detailed here. I think it's because I have the LSS enabled, because I did need the LSS to play well. Otherwise, I was having lots of frame drops, which is obviously not ideal. But that stuff usually gets sorted out by launch, hopefully. Now, when you're going to find a match, you have a few options, but right here is the absolute game changer: the open mosh pit. This is the thing that made me love this game. Whereas in the first 2 days, I actually dreaded my experience, just like Black Ops 6, because I absolutely detest Black Ops 6's matchmaking. It has some of the most oppressive, strict skill-based matchmaking in the entire series. Like, games like Modern Warfare 3 have skill-based matchmaking, and it's pretty oppressive, but I enjoyed that game so much that it overshadowed my disdain for the skill-based matchmaking. Black Ops 6, on the other hand, not at all. That matchmaking is pain and misery, and this game had exactly the same experience with the regular mosh pit, which was the standard option for the first 2 days of the beta. And then I think it was right around when they opened up the beta for everybody, so no need for a code or pre-order. That's when they released the open mosh pit. This thing is classic matchmaking, no skill-based matchmaking whatsoever. This is massive skill variances across all players, and the matchmaking times are instant, and the connection quality is always consistent, unlike the skill-based matchmaking mosh pit. Now, I'm gonna go into bigger details, or greater detail rather, about these two playlists and what the differences really are in a separate video, because this video is mostly about the core gameplay of Black Ops 7, the maps, the guns, and that stuff. So I will show you some gameplay later. And there's really not much else to talk about here that is not different from Black Ops 6. I did make a first impressions video last year, and I went into some more detail with Black Ops 6, so most of that stuff is the same here. We're gonna do a Total Biscuit style look at the options menu here. So, as always, from the last 4 Call of Duty games, including this one, you have a quick settings option, so any setting that you may want to change on the fly without having to search it, you can set it as a quick setting, and you have up to 15 options here. So I usually have like my mouse sensitivity looking version. I don't even know why I have this on quick. Mouse advanced settings, FOB, although I always have it on 120. I'm just that kind of player. Volume, voice chat volume, and such things. Controller options, I'm not going to go into detail with these because I have absolutely no idea how to play with a controller. I am awful. Despite everybody saying that the aim assist in Call of Duty pretty much aims for you and it's a legal aimbot, I don't know. I cannot confirm or deny. I'm just a mouse and keyboard player. Now, I'm not sure if I can even remember where to go here. I think it's mouse advanced settings. Yeah, here. So aiming in this game feels pretty awkward, just like Black Ops 6. I've had that exact same issue with Black Ops 6 where I could nail my sensitivity, my ADS sensitivity. I have those in different settings, in different values rather. But aiming always felt a little awkward, like there's something dragging me despite there not being mouse acceleration. However, I went to this setting right here, ADS sensitivity type legacy. Relative is the standard, right? And then legacy is supposedly how it feels in other COD titles. So I enabled this option and fixed instantly. That was also a massive game changer for me. So if aiming feels a little awkward for you in mouse and keyboard, not only now in the beta but in launch, enable legacy sensitivity, and that might actually fix it for you. Then you have the standard stuff, you have keybinds, pretty much everything is customizable in this game. You can even have a separate keybind for wall jumping, which is the newest mechanic here. This game is semi-advanced movement because of the wall jump. You can see the best players in the world making the best use out of wall jumping and gaining a lot of advantage over other players, but when you learn to use that movement effectively, it's also another game changer. This game flows quite good, actually, with the wall jump mechanic. Then you have movement, basically behaviors for a lot of things. You even have this wall jump assist, forward only or sideways only or always on, so that if you jump into a wall, then without pressing any other button, you will immediately jump again. You will do a wall jump. So if you walk forward into a wall, then you can, with forward only, you will jump. Or if you go sideways into a wall, then you will also automatically jump it, or you will always want it on. Depends on what you want. I'm not usually a fan of the assist mechanics just because I like to be in full control of what I'm doing without something automatically happening for me, but that's just me. What else do we have? Like ADS behavior toggle, dedicated melee weapons, all of these things. It's pretty much the same as Black Ops 6, except for those wall jump mechanic additions. Graphics options are also the same. Nothing really to see here. As you can see, I'm actually using DLSS because this has helped me a lot with consistent frame rates across the gunfights. Because I did mention earlier, but without DLSS on, no matter if I'm recording or not recording, and I don't have any other apps in the background apart from OBS, without DLSS I was getting massive frame drops during gunfights, which is the worst possible moment where you could get frame drops. So not ideal. DLSS fixed it for me, but of course DLSS is not ideal because it blurs the game, or it makes it look bad in some areas. Call of Duty does have what I like to call granular shadows, where shadows are rendered in, like, they look like grains. Especially, you can notice that especially on your guns, and it just looks bad, especially for showcasing, which is what I mainly do on this channel. I have to disable DLSS, otherwise it looks awful. So there's that. Then what else do we have? View. You have some presets, motion reduction, which sets a bunch of options by itself. Field of view options that goes up to 120. Yeah. Motion blurs, which you always turn off, and camera movement, which you also want to put at the least possible values because that helps you with your objectively helps you with your gameplay. It makes things less shaky. Audio options, separate audio sliders for gameplay, download effects, volume, cinematics. Interface options, which you have here, for example, your telemetry, essentials for FPS counter, GPU temperatures, system clock, and it also includes your connection quality. What else do we have? Readability. This is where you have subtitles, so we can enable them on completely, so you can customize the size of your subtitles. I think there's even like a high contrast mode. And gameplay HUD is where you customize somewhat how many elements of your HUD will show up in game. Although I'm pretty sure that you can't disable all of them to make it look like hardcore, for example, but fortunately there is a hardcore playlist if you're into that. And yeah, the options are pretty much the same, and there's also a count on network. Nothing different here. They really haven't added too many new options to this game over Black Ops 6, right? No need to go into operators. We have a very limited selection here. At least they have the random operator available from launch, or at least in beta, so assuming that they're gonna have it on launch, which is a nice feature because I ultimately don't care as much who I play as. I just have Mason and Emma Kagan selected because these are my favorite characters so far from Black Ops 7, but ultimately I just gotta enable the random operator button because that gives me the most variety, and I ultimately don't care about my skins. I think it's a little silly. Barracks, it's pretty limited here too because you have let's see, customized options, your calling cards. This is a calling card showcase, operator showcase. What else? Wallpaper, clan tag. What else do we have? Emblem. Let's see. I have this little beta thing. These are options. These options are very limited. What's nice, however, let's see. Beta Conqueror. That's a pretty nice calling card with a Chimera from. I mean, the game's logo is a Chimera, so that's pretty nice. There are also a couple of Dark Ops challenges in this game. So there's this one for getting 1,000 kills in the multiplayer, and then there's this one for reaching round 50. I'd say this one is the harder Dark Ops challenge to get because round 50 is not necessarily easy. But we're gonna go over that in my zombies first impressions. I'm gonna show gameplay of that round 50 run, which was a bit weird because I was using a sniper rifle. I wasn't even trying. Let's see, you have your emotes and sprays, things that I never really use. Loading screen for, your loading screen. There's even this one that you get for playing the beta. Neat. I usually don't enable loading screens because I like the default ones where they show the maps and your stats and all that stuff. And usually these don't look all that well in motion. I think the default ones are just much better in my opinion. Next, let's go over the weapons. Now, the Lotto selection here is pretty much the same as Black Ops 6. No, not much has changed from here to BO6. With a couple of exceptions. They've made a few additions to the systems already in place in Black Ops 6. And let's go over my favorite one, which is the perks. So, perks in Black Ops 6. I'm gonna use a burner class right here. So, in Black Ops 6, you have 3 perk tiers, as you always do in Call of Duty. The difference here, and again, I'm talking Black Ops 6. We're gonna talk about the Black Ops 7 specific stuff later, but in Black Ops 6, you have 3 different colors of perks. So you have red perks, blue perks, and green perks. And you have the same for all perk tiers, which means that you can mix and match colors. The idea is that if you match all 3 tiers of in the same color, you will get a specialty. In this case, I get a green specialty called Strategist, which is focused on score, objective, sabotage, equipment, seeing enemy content through walls, so it's kind of like the engineer perk from other Call of Duties. This was present in Black Ops 6, and the idea was combine your 3 perks of all 3 tiers in the same color, and you will get your specialty, which is essentially a 4th perk. Okay. However, the unfortunate part about this is that same color combinations aren't always the best possible combinations that you could have, because, for example, I have Tech Mask here, which is TAC Mask, but it's called Tech Mask now because I think it includes CMPs. Yeah. But what if I wanted Ghost? Or if I wanted Ninja for Silent Footsteps? And, well, ignore this here, the operative thing, but in Black Ops 6, because of this, because I had a blue and then 2 greens, for example, I would no longer get a specialty. So in Black Ops 7, this has been improved, because now I have 2 colors in my perk selection, which means now I have a hybrid specialty. This one's called Operative. This is what I get for combining blue and green in my perk selection. So I can have 2 blues and 1 green, or 2 greens and 1 blue, and then I will have this Operative specialty. What if instead I wanted a red perk like Gung-Ho, for example? So I have Gung-Ho with my other green perks, and now I have a different hybrid specialty called Tactician. Or what if I wanted a red and 2 blues for whatever reason, and now I have Scout. So now the idea is that so long as you combine at least 2 colors, at least, yeah, if you have at least a 2-color combination of perks, you're always gonna have a specialty. If you have a 2-color or a 1-color combination of perks, you're always gonna have a specialty. The only exception is if you have all 3 colors. There's no tri-specialty for all 3 colors. I hope that this is something that they could add post-launch, because, I mean, what the hell, that would open up that would really open up the perk selection of this game even more. However, I am quite happy with their idea of hyper specialties because this truly does open up perk selection a lot more than Black Ops 6. You're not gonna be punished for having a specific choice of perks. And what this also does is it, at least in my experience, eliminated the necessity of running perk greed, which is a wild card that gives you a 4th perk. Now, as you can see, this added a green perk, so I have a 3 color combination here, but I kept my scout specialty, which was red and blue. And that's because the specialty is dependent on your standard perk 1, perk 2, and perk 3 slots. It is not affected by perk greed, unless so for example, let's see, yeah, for example, specialty, I have 2 greens, 1 blue, 1 red, and I have no specialty right here. And that's because perk 1, perk 2, and perk 3 are 3 different colors. So let's see, if I were to have a green perk on perk 3, I got the Tactician hybrid specialty because perk 1 is a red perk, perk 2 and perk 3 are greens. So because the standard perk selections are a mix of red and green, that's why I get Tactician, even though I have 3 green perks, because the perk greed does not affect the specialty in this game. Maybe a bit hard to understand unless you start playing this by yourself, but it makes sense. However, this is just having an additional 5th perk, but what you're sacrificing, at least in this beta, is the ability to have 8 attachments with the Gunfire wildcard. Now, we do have a limited selection of wildcards in this beta. There's gonna be a lot more on launch. Not all of them as useful as what we have right here. There's one called Specialist, which is the Specialist Strike package from Modern Warfare 3, the original one, where you get perks instead of kill streaks, or in this case, score streaks. And once you get enough kills or points, you're gonna get the Specialist bonus, which gives you all the perks in the game. With one exception, because this game has this thing called Tag Sprinter. This perk gives you Tag Sprint that was introduced in Modern Warfare 2019, which means that it is not something you get by default this time around. This is a change mostly based on feedback, because we really don't think Tag Sprint makes sense at all for the Black Ops series. Maybe Modern Warfare, maybe. But Black Ops plays differently from Modern Warfare somewhat, and Tag Sprint is just something we don't really need or want. So Treyarch, instead of eliminating it completely, they made it a perk. So if you, for whatever reason, want your Tag Sprint, it's in this perk right here. Now, I mentioned that Specialist bonus will give you every perk in the game, so you will get every perk from here, every perk from perk 2, every perk from perk 3, except for Tag Sprinter. That is unless you opt into unlocking this perk as one of your streaks, or if you put it in your class from the start. So you basically have to opt into Tag Sprint, otherwise you're not gonna be forced to run it, which I think is a really cool idea. Because it would have been a shame that the Specialist bonus gives you Tag Sprint, so now you're forced into using something that you don't want. Because actually, no, I don't think it nerfs your standard movement. It just gives you Tag Sprint, which buffs your movement generally, but for a short amount of time. But yeah, basically opening up my perk selection with the hybrid specialties means that I'm always gonna have a 4th perk. Like, I don't think any of my standard classes have like a 3-color selection of perks. Simply because, why the hell would I do that? I have so much choice right now, and I always get my specialty, so I'm always guaranteed to have a 4th perk. So long as I know how to build my class as well. Relatively, that is. The other wildcard that we have here is Overkill, which allows you to equip 2 primaries or 2 secondaries or whatever combination that you want. It just doesn't affect the melee slot here, but dedicated melee is just it's a melee weapon and that's it, right? Now, Let's see what guns that we have here. We don't have a huge selection right now, and on launch we're only gonna have 28 guns because, I mean, they advertise 30 weapons, but 2 of those are gonna be this Flatline Mark II and then a combat knife, so that leaves only 28 ranged guns. So yeah, a bit low for my liking, but it could play out in the game's favor because Treyarch does have this philosophy that I like to call weapon archetypes, which means that every gun serves a specific role, is designed with a specific set of stats, and is designed for a specific kind of objective in mind, or its playstyle in mind. So this M15 Mod 0 is a jack of all trades. It does everything relatively well or decently, but it doesn't specialize in anything. It's your M4 basically, or your XM4 from Black Ops 6. You have this, the MXR-17. This is clearly a SCAR, but it's also a reference to the Rampart from Black Ops 4. And those guns are meant to be slow hitting, slow rate of fire, but they hit hard. This thing is pretty much that. It has a very slow rate of fire, but it hits like a truck. It's pretty fun to use once you get the hang of it. And then one of my favorite gun in Call of Duty / the Black Ops series, the Peacekeeper Mark 1. I don't know why this is in the assault rifle class. This is chambering 5.7 by 28, the same caliber as the P90. So this really is more a PDW than an assault rifle. But whatever, it's in assault rifle class because it fits the role of the high mobility, excellent handling assault rifle. So it's an assault rifle SMG hybrid. If you treat this thing like an SMG more than an assault rifle, it makes a lot more sense because it's the same Peacekeeper from Black Ops 1. SMGs, we have another 3. The Riot M45K, which this is more similar to your MP5s, for example. This is a jack of all trades SMG. The Drawback 45, which is one of the silliest guns in this game, possibly the silliest gun. Although it does have some competition, but it's the way that the magazine is inserted into this thing, which makes it quite illogical. Although I do plan to talk about this in the future, because there is one real-world gun that could explain how this thing works. But yeah, this is your long-range SMG. This is basically your SMG assault rifle hybrid, the role that the Peacekeeper had in the original Black Ops 2. Because that was in the sniper... What? Sniper? No, in the SMG category. And then we have the Razor 9mm, which is your ultra-high fire rate kind of SMG, so think your Scorpion Evo from Black Ops 2. Shotguns, we have this here, the M10 Breacher, which is your pump-action shotgun, but this one comes with a gimmick. You can charge, as in you can hold down the button and charge your shotgun, and it's going to reduce hipfire spread as well as ADS spread. So it's going to make it more accurate, but you have to charge it. The charge is pretty quick, yes, but it is a little bit awkward if you just want to tap fire, because that means that you have to remember to tap fire this thing, and it's always going to have some sort of delay, so it's not going to be instant if you want to do that. So it's a little awkward in some very high, tense, close quarter situations. But it's a pretty good shotgun, especially like with the charge feature. It does the job quite well. And then we have this, the Echo 12, which is a semi-auto, double barrel shotgun that looks very similar to the Tavor TS12, but this, at least this time, they do rotate the magazine here. This is a 6-tube magazine, but because this is a double barrel, then it rotates it 3 times. There's like effectively 3 tubes, or 3 sets of tubes for your 2 barrels here. Pretty fun, and I haven't really gotten the chance to use it, but I've been killed a couple of times by it, really close ranges, and it does the job really well. Let's see, the LMG here, the Mark 48, nothing special, good damage, good fire rate. I think this is meant to be the standard Jack of all trades LMG. You can't really see it here, but let's look at the gunsmith. Can I rotate it? Yeah, and it does have an ammo counter right here, although it says 0, but in-game it does say 75, and it counts your rounds live as you play. Pretty cool feature. Especially for hardcore, you will know what your ammo count is, and it's something that we had in, I think it was the LSAT in Black Ops 2, although I'm not sure if this is supposed to reference that gun. Marksman rifles, we have the return of the M8A1 from Black Ops 2 as well. This is a 4-round burst rifle based off the XM8 in real life. This thing is pretty powerful. Now, because it's in the marksman rifle category, it means that by default it's going to have somewhat slower mobility than the other assault rifles, mobility and handling, right? So you will have to use attachments that increase your ADS speed, for example, and then you unlock the true potential of this because it's a freaking monster. This thing is powerful. This thing is powerful, but it takes some time to get used to. Next, sniper rifles. We have the VS Recon, which is... Treyarch keeps saying that this is the return of the SR50 from Black Ops 2. In reality, this is based off the DSR-1 sniper rifle, not the DSR-50, because that's chambered in 50 BNG, whereas this thing is chambered in 7.62 NATO, like the DSR-1. And then we have this, one of the other silly guns in Black Ops 3, the XR3 Ion. This is a rotating triple barrel 3-round burst sniper rifle. Pretty weird stuff here. So you pull the trigger, there's a little bit of a delay, and then it will fire a 3-round hyper burst. And that's supposed to kill enemies really quickly. Because it's a hyper burst, then all 3 shots are gonna come out extremely quickly. So getting kills with this thing shouldn't be as bad, but I haven't really tried it, so I'm not sure how fast or good this is at all. But I haven't seen anyone use this really. I've seen every single sniper that I've seen were using the VS Recon. Bit of a interesting fact here, it says quick rechamber, which makes me think that this is not going to be the heavy sniper rifle of this game like the DSR-50 was in Black Ops 2. Rather, this is going to be the quick rechamber, so the fastest fire rate sniper rifle in the game, fastest rate bolt action. So think the Swiss K31 from Black Ops Cold War. That's what this is meant to be. Let's see, now we have pistols. We have 2 available in the beta, so the Jaeger 45, which is your... Wait, there you go. So this is the TAC 45 from Black Ops 2, pretty much, almost unchanged. It looks exactly the same. And yeah, semi-auto 45 ACP, so this hits pretty dang hard. That's a very decent fire rate for that as well. Treyarch, they don't give good fire rates to high damage pistols, but this one seems to be the exception. It is quite nice and easy to use, but of course, if you don't hit your shots, then you're pretty much screwed. And then we have this Dakota 9, which is your full auto pistol. I haven't gotten to use this at all. So, from what I understand, this has a pretty high recoil, so you're gonna have to compensate for that with your attachments. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. We have the only thing we're missing here is the 3-round burst pistol, and then we have this, the Arkham 1 launcher. This is a launcher, but in reality, this is like a laser launcher or a laser gun. So it shoots a pretty powerful laser, or at least pretty impactful. Pretty sure it deals area of effect damage as if it was like an RPG or something, but it doesn't deal a lot of damage, unfortunately. You're not gonna kill enemies with the area of effect damage of this thing, unfortunately. Every time you shoot it overheats, you have to wait for it to cool down, and after 3 shots you have to reload the magazine. I also haven't had much success using this against UAVs, for example. I'm not sure they're gonna have a launcher, a lock-on launcher. That's usually the one that you use for shooting down UAVs or counter UAVs. However, shooting down UAVs with your regular bullet gun is more effective than trying to use this thing. So I don't really see this having a place in the game, unfortunately. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the guns. I did mention the melees have, they're gonna have 2 of this taser thing, the flatline. And okay, let's go into the field upgrades, because there is something to talk about here. You'll notice here the overclocks. Overclocks are basically like an attachment or an upgrade for some pieces of equipment. You have to level these up, so you know, by deploying, for example, deploying trophy systems and having it absorb grenades, for example, it's going to level it up. So the first level, level 2, it's going to unlock this high efficiency battery. So I could choose this high efficiency battery, and I'm going to recharge or charge my trophy system a lot faster. And when I get to level 3 max level, I unlock this tighter packing. I can only choose one of the two overclocks. But yeah, I have Tiger Packing here, which gives me 2 extra absorptions, 2 extra grenades to absorb. So my trophy system is now a lot more effective. So that means that every single piece of field upgrade and grenades, for example, that can also be overclocked, you have to level them up to unlock their truest potential. Which means that, yes, there's more grinding involved, but there's also more progression, more replayability, not replayability, but there's more stuff to grind for in this game, which generally the Call of Duty audience likes to do. They love grinding, so there's that. There's also this drone pod, which just releases a bunch of explosive drones and they start chasing enemies. Pretty annoying, and I actually don't like this thing. I'd rather see this be removed or repurposed, like having the drones, for example, not deal, or maybe, okay, deal 1 damage to the player, because there will be some impact, but instead of exploding, what if they just disappear, or they explode but they don't actually deal explosive damage? All they do is tag the enemy on your minimap, or through walls, something like that, right? Because otherwise this thing is just free damage, and I don't like that. There's also this, the active camo, which of course makes you invisible until you shoot your gun, unless you get the second overclock, which means that when you shoot, you're going to go, you shoot and you temporarily become visible, and then after some time you become invisible again until the thing runs out. Pretty good stuff here. We have the Echo unit, which creates a hologram of your player character, including your skin, and it can also capture objectives, and Squad Link, which is an area of effect, the thing that you put down, and all allies in the range of this thing are going to get increased score for kills and whatnot. Seems the thing that would only really be useful if you're playing in a team, in a party. Otherwise, not that great. Tacticals also have overclocks. You have the usual stuff. You have here the pinpoint grenade, which if you become affected by this thing, then you will be, okay, if your enemy gets hit by this thing, you will have wall hacks on that enemy for some time until they remove the little trackers manually. You have Psych Grenade, which explodes on impact with the ground, releasing a lingering cloud of hallucinogenic gas, which what it actually does is it tries to confuse you on who's your enemy and who's your allies. I think it switches up the name tags of the player characters in a match, so it would make you shoot, or it would try to make you shoot your allies for no effect, and have enemies shoot you instead, making you think that those were your allies. It's trying to confuse you, basically. Lethal, same thing. You have overclocks for your lethals as well. Not much interesting stuff here, because again the general framework is exactly the same as Black Ops 6. Finally, score streaks. Score streaks also have overclocks. So for example, UAV right here. Let's see, I have Dispatcher, a lower score cost, and Countertech counters the first lock-on missile with a flare, increases bullet resistance. So this makes me think that we will have a lock-on launcher for that category that's specifically meant to shoot down streaks. But like I said, UAVs are much easier to shoot down, or much faster to shoot down with your regular bullet weapon without having to pull out or even equip a launcher in the first place. So unless launcher becomes the best way to destroy UAVs, this Countertech overclock is not really that useful. And then you have Dispatcher here, which makes it so that instead of being a 500 score streak, it is now 400. Counter UAV has the same overclocks, I think. Yeah, so now my UAV and counter UAV are much cheaper. Then we have this skewer. You earn it, activate it, and it's going to search for an enemy player and kill it from the sky. It's like a missile. It's like an automatic Hellstorm missile, but for one player. Sometimes it can miss if the player that they targeted it goes below a ceiling. So not the best, but it usually turns into a free kill. The Gravemaker is a very interesting one. This is a sniper rifle that has infinite penetration, which means that you can sit on your spawn, equip this thing, and it also has wall hacks, by the way, so you can sit on your spawn and start killing enemies from anywhere on the map, and all you have to discharge this now for a little bit. Then there's also the Dog. This thing is a ground drone that simply starts running around the map and kill enemies. That's it. But it's pretty awesome, pretty powerful, and 1000 score is not all that much. Especially with the open playlist, kill streaks are mid-tier and high-end kill streaks, or score streaks rather, are much more viable, much easier to get. Then there's also this one, the Watchdog Hilo, seen from Black Ops 6, where it's just a hilo that hovers mostly above you. It tries to be as close to you as possible while in the air, and it just shoots down enemies. What else? We have the HKDs. This is basically the dog kill streak in this game. Not this dog, but the dogs, like the attack dogs, that you call down and they just kill enemies on their own. Or this is more similar also to the Raps from Black Ops 3. So it's that, and they're pretty powerful. There's even this overclock here that makes them more durable, so they're harder to shoot down. And then you have some of the higher end streaks, the Rhino, which is a robot that you call down and you control remotely, and it's just it is just there to kill enemies. It's quite durable. And then you have the Vital warship, which is, you know, a warship that you control yourself and you start shooting down enemies. Pretty fun stuff. But I do like that there's at least, you know, just in this beta alone, there are 4 quite viable mid-tier streaks. Maybe the Watchdog Hilo isn't as good as Black Ops 6. I haven't had as much success with this one, but HKD's Watchdog Hilo, Dog, and Gravemaker, all of these are really good, ultimately, mid-tier streaks, which is a big improvement from Black Ops 6, because in that game the Watchdog Hilo is the one obvious choice. Easiest to get, and it deals a lot. It does a lot for you in that game. So at least the variety of score streaks is there, and I will occasionally switch from Gravemaker to Dog to Watchdog to HKDs, or maybe go a bit higher to get Rhino Warship. And because of the open playlist, I feel capable of getting these streaks. It's not like skill-based matchmaking where getting a UAV in itself is a fucking achievement. No, not this time. I've been getting UAVs and CUAVs quite consistently in that playlist. So yeah. Now the only thing left to talk about is the general gameplay experience and the maps and how the guns feel. So we're gonna go into some recorded gameplay, and I'm gonna talk about those things there. See you there. Alright, welcome to the gameplay. Now, before we continue, I actually forgot to mention something. If you played the beta, or if there's anything that you want Treyarch to know, if there's any feedback you'd like to submit, yes, there is a way to submit directly to Treyarch, but that's probably rid of a lot of pointless, useless feedback that Treyarch's gonna have to filter through. So I'd actually recommend that you instead go to ChadOfDuty's Trello board. He has a Trello board that is automatically updated with a bunch of feedback surveys that you can fill up yourself. So if you encountered any kind of weird, unique, obscure bug, or if there's any gameplay systems that you want Treyarch to fix, like for example the whole dexterity thing, we can talk about that later, but there is a thing with the dexterity perk in this game, or the looper perk also. If there's anything feedback-wise or bug reports that you'd like to do, then I suggest you do or use ChadOfDuty's feedback project. So I'm gonna link that in the description for you to try. It's pretty simple to do, actually. So yeah, the gameplay itself. I'm just recording voiceover right now without any planning or preparation, so whatever you see in the gameplay is not gonna be reflective of what I say in any specific way. So I don't even know what gameplay I'm showing here. So let's talk about this game in a general sense. Now, the maps. The maps, they don't seem to be any larger than Black Ops 6 maps. Maybe a bit. I'm thinking some of the Black Ops 6 maps are pretty small, and you can get around from one area to the other, or from one spawn to the other rather, very quickly. And that's kind of the case in this game, but the lanes do seem to separate from each other a lot better. And when you pick a lane, you tend to stay in that lane and play that lane and only move towards another lane by going to the middle portion of the map. Like, if you choose the right lane from your spawn, when you get to the middle portion of it, you're gonna find an access to the middle lane, and then that middle lane is gonna have an access in the very same area to the opposite lane that you were playing initially. But I think this is partially what they meant by better lane definition with the maps, and it does feel like it. I will say this. Even though I've had many instances in both the skill-based matchmaking playlist and the open playlist, where I had enemies come, or rather, when I encounter enemies shooting me in the back. That's pretty annoying, but I feel like it happens a lot more in Black Ops 6 than it does in Black Ops 7. So, all of this means that to me the maps are much better in BO7. They flow a lot better, they make a lot more sense, and yeah, when they say better lane definition or clearer lane definition, I do tend to agree when it comes to just feel alone, so this is entirely subjective. But I agree, I generally like the 5 maps that I played in this beta. Today they dropped the new one, I think it's called Toshin, takes place in Japan. By the time of recording this video, I haven't played that map yet, so I'm not sure if it's good or not, but I've been seeing a couple of reactions on Twitter that say that the map is pretty good. So it seems like there seems to be a consistent quality to the maps. Maybe they're not all S-tier maps, but at least the quality between all of them seems to be consistent enough. So you're not gonna get wildly different experiences between maps in terms of quality. So I quite like that. It means that there should be less favoritism when it comes to the maps, which makes voting more interesting, because this game also has map voting, of course. So yeah, I'm actually quite happy with the general map design in this game. There's not one map that I hate at all. Maybe the one that's my least favorite in this beta so far is Cortex, but not for any real reason. It's just whatever came up in my mind when thinking, hey, it's my least favorite map, but I can't exactly say or tell why. I'm not good at analyzing maps anyways. But yeah, pretty satisfied on that front. 6 out of, 16 maps on launch that all seem to be pretty good. I think we're in good hands. Treyarch seems to still be able to design a good selection of maps. And the time of day, the environment, the setting of all of these maps is also a lot better than Black Ops 6. They don't all take place at the exact same time of day, in the exact same location in the world. None of these maps seem to take place in Avalon, for example, like most of BO6's maps. And those BO6 maps that take place in Avalon almost all take place at the exact same point of the day, which is boring as hell. So yeah, we don't have that issue in Black Ops 7. The map issue has been resolved. Next, the guns. I don't think any single gun in this game felt bad. From what I'm seeing, and from personal experience as well, the general recoil of most of these guns, at least the base recoil, is higher than Black Ops 6 guns, which makes this a bit harder to master, but also means that if you so choose, you will be using your gunsmith attachments to improve your recoil. But I did forget to mention also, when it comes to the gunsmith, the general structure of the gunsmith is also the same as Black Ops 6, but the effects of the attachments seem to be more varied. So you will have recoil mitigation attachments in different slots. It's not just going to be in the underbarrel slot and then I think there's like the horizontal recoil attachment in Black Ops 6 that is only present in the underbarrels. And this time in this game you're gonna have that same effect on different slots, which means that you can have multiple attachments that do the same thing for maximum efficiency. So you can specialize your gun in whatever way that you want. And it's also in your best interest to understand what the gun's designed to do, so that you can improve on those stats specifically and make the best possible version of that gun, which plays a lot more into the idea of the gun archetypes that I mentioned earlier than Black Ops 6, because this should mean that your attachment builds aren't always going to be the same across all guns. In BO6 I do find this problem where any gun that I choose will have the exact same attachment setup from the other gun that I just used. So there is very little difference between guns in Black Ops 6, but in Black Ops 7, all the guns felt like a different experience, and I used all of them in different ways. So I was not building everything to play exactly the same way and fit my one and only playstyle. Rather, like it should be in the Black Ops series, I adapt my playstyle to the gun that I was using. So when I was using the M8, I was being a lot more conservative. I was trying to play my life a little bit more, I was trying to be more careful, because I know that with the attachments that I had available, I was not going to be able to be too aggressive, and being aggressive with a burst rifle is not always the best idea. So yeah, I was playing differently with the M8A1 as I was playing with the M15. The M15 I was being a lot more aggressive, but I also needed to do a mix of mid-range and close-range combat, because of course it's an assault rifle, so an SMG is always going to outgun an assault rifle in close range, which is good because that's what it's supposed to be like. But then, one of the unfortunate parts about this is that there's always a clear meta option, and this time it was the Drawback 45, the long-range SMG. Because you can stretch your ranges with that SMG far more than any other of the other SMGs. Any other SMG, yeah. And it was a little overtuned, absolutely. It was more of an assault rifle than an SMG, but with the mobility and handling of an SMG, which is what the archetype is supposed to do, yes, but you could probably nerf the range damages just a little bit, so that it's not more effective than assault rifles, or as effective where assault rifles should be more effective. That is long-range combat, of course. But aside from that, I think the general gun balance of this game was pretty good for a beta. Like, I could use any gun and perform relatively well, so long as I got used to how the gun played. But of course this was the case in the open playlist and not the regular skill-based matchmaking playlist. That is a sweatfest, it's annoying, it's awful, and I don't want to ever play skill-based matchmaking ever again. And I hope, seriously hope, that the open skill-based, that the open playlist is available on launch. Even if it's just that playlist and it's full of sweaty players, I had the time of my life. I actually got quite addicted to the game because of that playlist, like I mentioned earlier. But it's just a night and day difference, and this is why I mentioned that this was a roller coaster for me, because when the beta dropped, the first 2 days there was no open playlist, and the experience felt almost exactly as frustrating as Black Ops 6. Like, when I was playing this game 10 matches in, I was quickly reminded of how much I hated Black Ops 6 because of the matchmaking system, and I even went on Twitter to say, no, this game is not it. This is just as bad as BO6. And then they dropped the open playlist, and it turned everything around for me, because it made... The thing about that is that because there's no skill-based matchmaking, connections are prioritized. So you're gonna have consistent connections. I got my best possible connection every single time, without fail, except once. Out of the tens of matches that I played in that playlist, one match didn't give me the best possible connection, and every other match was the best, absolute best. Also, less packet bursts. They were still there. They were still there, but not in the same degree as skill-based matchmaking lobbies. My god, those are awful. So yes, it's open playlist or bust for me. If it's a thing on launch, and I don't intend to play any other playlist, unless it's like a featured or a party type gameplay playlist, but no, aside from that, it's open or bust for me. It's just so good. Classic COD matchmaking is so good, man. What's not so good is team balancing, and I know this, I expected this, because I never have a good experience with Treyarch's team balancing in any Black Ops game, ever, as a solo player. So that's expected, and I think a lot of people suffer through the same issue. So yeah, give or take, it's just a thing that comes with the package, I suppose. Aside from that, going back on the guns, they all feel great. The VS Recon is pretty fun once you start unlocking ADS attachments. The Peacekeeper plays its role quite well, being the assault rifle SMG hybrid, so it's an assault rifle that you can take into close range combat and perform relatively well. But it's best used at medium range combat, whereas the other assault rifles, the MXR and the M15, are best taken mid to long range combat, and they will perform decently well. The LMG is quite powerful at holding down objectives. Not good for aggression, not at all. LMGs never really are, unless you use the high mobility LMG that usually comes in launch. On launch with the Black Ops titles, but I don't know what other LMGs are gonna be in this game. I think there's only one more. Weirdly enough. What else? The SMGs. Well, I only use the Raiden 45K and the Dravik. Not a huge fan of the Raiden, mainly because the recoil pattern of that thing seems to be very awkward. So I never really ended up liking that SMG all that much. The Dravik is, it's the absolute meta in this beta, so of course it was a nice experience to use it. The shotguns, I haven't really used them, so I can't comment on those. And the pistols, I only really used the Jaeger 45. That was my sidearm of choice. And yeah, once you dial in your sensitivity, your aiming, once you get good with semi-auto pistols, that thing is also quite powerful. It's a pretty reliable sidearm. But yeah, it is a sidearm at the end of the day. Now, I didn't get to unlock Akimbo, so I'm not sure if this is actually a feature that was available in the beta, but in one of the trailers you could actually see that, and they did reveal this, that when you have the Akimbo attachment, you can actually toggle Akimbo on or off. So you have the Akimbo attachment, but you can still toggle it off and have a single gun for, say, longer, like medium range engagements, which you shouldn't be with a pistol, but at least the Jaeger is pretty good at medium ranges as well, because it's a 45 ACP. So it does the job. But for up close, then you can toggle on Akimbo, and that should fix you up pretty well at close range. But again, I haven't managed to unlock Akimbo, so I don't know if that's the case or not. But yeah, pretty fun stuff. The weapons all feel really good, and they feel different from each other. Unlike Black Ops 6, where all guns almost feels homogeneous, especially by the way that you customize all of them. It's just the same build for every single gun in that game. And this time around, because I don't rely on per grid anymore, I am able to use my 8 attachments on the guns, which is nice because I never really go for that option. Black Ops Cold War had a similar system, but your per grid gave you 3 perks instead of just 1. There were no combat specialties or anything, but you would have 6 perks, which still is more than what you would get in, say, Black Ops 6 or even Black Ops 7 with perk grid if you set up a specialty. Like, you could have at max 5 perks, which is 1 less than Black Ops Cold War. So I was quite happy this time to use the 8 attachment option. More so than the Overkill one. I think I had that only on an SMG class that had the sniper, the V3 gun as a secondary, just because I wanted to try something. It was fun. But I was using that during the skill-based matchmaking playlist, so yeah, I also felt punished at the same time for using that. And let's see, let's talk about the wall jump, because the wall jump is a very important part of this game. The more you play Black Ops 7, the more encouraged you feel to try different wall jump spots and see how you can use that mechanic to traverse the map in different ways, in less predictable ways. So you're not gonna be sliding all over the map all the time. There will be some areas on some maps where it's clearly the better option to wall jump. You seem to be able to move in a better concealed way through wall jumping, and you can chain up the 3 wall jumps as well. Each wall jump will have less momentum to it, but the way that some of these areas are designed, it doesn't really matter all that much. And you can catch a lot of players off guard with the wall jump. So it's a pretty good mechanic. And this is why I also mentioned that this game is semi-advanced movement, because the more people get used to wall jumping and the better they get at aiming while wall jumping, the more of it you're going to be seeing. To the point where you're gonna see so many aerial enemies, at some point it's almost going to feel like they actually have jetpacks. Or they might as well have jetpacks. So a lot of people are going to end up seeing this game, I think, as an advanced movement Call of Duty, because it sometimes just feels like it. And I like that because I miss advanced movement, if I'm gonna be honest. I really like the Black Ops 3 advanced movement. So seeing it come back would be a dream for me, but I'm really happy with wall jumping. Also, because I keep talking about the open playlist, you can get streaks a lot easier. So I was getting the mid-tier streaks quite consistently at some point. I was getting my Gravemaker, my dog, my what was it? Watchdog Hilo, and the Raps. I keep forgetting the name of that streak. The dog slash rap kill streak, score streak. Those are score streaks, not kill streaks. But yeah, ultimately, I really like this game. And because of the no skirmish matchmaking playlist, I realized that the framework that Treyarch has had for these 2 years works quite well when the content surrounding it and the matchmaking that makes all this happen in the first place is good. Classic matchmaking works really well with Treyarch's design here. And if Black Ops 6 was to, for example, introduce the open mosh pit during Season 6, I think a lot more people would be happier with that game despite the maps being bad. But the hardcore players would be encouraged to try that game once again, and they would see the things that it does well over the things that it does poorly. Black Ops 6 does a few things poorly, and the matchmaking is what drags it down to the bottom of the barrel. But without it, I'm pretty sure that more people would be happy with Black Ops 6 and with the chaos that it ensues because of the map design. Black Ops 7 is a bit toned back. The movement, they say it's a little bit toned back, but the sliding seems to be the same. And I do slide all over the place when I'm not wall jumping, but I haven't felt like sliding is the one and only way to engage in gunfights or to move around. Wall jumping is a good thing to learn how to use efficiently, and when you do, you're not going to be relying entirely on sliding to get into gunfights or to get out of gunfights or to traverse the map, which is good because I don't like sliding all over the place. It gets boring at some point, you know? So yeah, ultimately, really like Black Ops 7. I'm quite excited for the launch of this game. I'm quite excited for the other guns. I love futuristic guns, and we'll be doing, of course, showcases for them. And I'm gonna try to pinpoint the exact origin of these guns to have that additional information on the showcases. One side note is that I really appreciate that most of these guns, if not all of them, show what their country of origin is. Most of the guns in the beta were made in the US, some in Germany, and some in Austria. But the gun will usually tell you where it's from, and there are a bunch of fictional manufacturers, so when you can pinpoint the origin of a manufacturer, you have pointed that same origin for every other gun from the same manufacturer. So for showcase purposes for my channel, that's pretty good because that's all the information I really need. This game provides me the information that I wanted to provide. What else? I'm not gonna say that the graphics look amazing. Not at all, really. And that's because they haven't really... I'm not sure this engine is capable of making games look as good as Modern Warfare 2019. That, to this day, remains to be the best-looking Call of Duty of all time. In a graphical sense, like in terms of graphical fidelity, yes, it's absolutely the best. In terms of art style, maybe not so much. So imagine a game that looks like Modern Warfare 2019 with the graphical fidelity, but had the art style of Black Ops Cold War, or in this case Black Ops 7 as well. I think Black Ops 7's art style, the color palette, the way things look, the guns, the maps, the futuristic setting here works really well. I'm a big fan of it. So that's something that draws me into play this game as well. It's the general setting, the way that it looks aesthetically, not so much with the graphical fidelity, but the style of the game, the futuristic style, I think is pretty good. Pretty good middle ground between Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 4. And yeah, ultimately I'm pretty happy with Black Ops 7. I think it's gonna be hard for me to want to refund what I paid to play this game, so long as the open playlist is available on launch. And I think with the amount of positivity that this game has had because of that playlist, I'm pretty sure that they're gonna have to include it on launch. I'm not sure if repurpose the entire matchmaking of the game to be like the open playlist and not have any SBMM. That would be the ideal situation. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's going to remain as an actual playlist. And if it has to be the case like that, I wouldn't mind, because I would still get to play the playlist, and so long as they never remove it and all modes are available through it, then yeah, really no complaints there. So yeah, I am quite fond of Treyarch's design here. Really like Black Ops 7, really looking forward to launch and to see the rest of the content. Next we're gonna cover zombies, because there's not much to talk about there. But I wanted to cover zombies as well, because it's a pretty important part of this game, and I enjoy it quite a bit as well. So yeah, I'll see you on that video, and then I'll see you on the other videos that I planned for the Black Ops 7 beta. Lots of showcase and discussions, and the other first impression like this one. I already went on for a whole hour, but at least I'm doing this all in one fry, so I'm not really gonna have to edit all that much. So yeah, this is probably gonna come out relatively soon from recording, which makes me happy. I'm happy to be back with the channel after taking a month break, so we're ready to make a lot more content. That being said, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.